Hey guys, welcome back to the next episode of Intro to Coding. In this video, we're going to go over some user input and if-else statements, some pretty exciting stuff. So let's jump into it. Boop. Okay, here we are. So this is basically where we were from last time. we're just using the exact same file. I just commented out everything from before. So there we go. Remember using the quote in order to do a huge block comment. All right, so let's do some user input stuff. This is actually where some stuff can get really fun. And you know, it's actually a person interacting with your program. First thing we're gonna do here is let's ask the person what their name is. So let's do name equals. So we're creating a variable and we're gonna have that variable is going to equal that person's name. And then in order to ask for input or the user's input, we're going to type in input. And then in brackets, we're going to give a string asking, or basically this string is going to be printed out and it's going to be the thing that's asking the person for input. So we can say, what is your name? And we can do, just to make it all fancy, we can do a colon and a space. So let's see if this works. So we can then print, and let's do hello. Let's just do name, just to make it easy here. So we're going to, this means we're going to define a variable. It's going to have, its definition is going to be an input, where we ask the user for an input and we're asking them, what is your name? That's what this line will do. And then in this line, we're going to print hello, and then we're going to add the person's name. All right, let's give it a go. Let's try and run this. So again, we're in our directory here, and we're going to run pi and then whatever we called it, in this case, hello pi. Enter. What is your name? Jake. Enter. Hello, Jake. Perfect. It's working. Okay, cool. So now we know the person's name. Maybe we want to ask what their age is. So we can type age, and we can do the same thing. Input. What is your age? Or maybe we should say, please enter your age. Let's say that. That seems more polite. Please enter your age. All about politeness here on JakeEh. And then we can say is age years old. There we go. So now we're gonna get the person's name again. We're going to get the person's age, and then we're going to say their name. So name is age years old. Let's run this again. Name Jake. Enter age 30. Jake is 30 years old. Perfect. Okay, this is working, right? We have input. It means the data that we've sent in here, or we've passed in through our little terminal here, is going into our program and we're doing something with it, right? So it's not just like we're typing stuff here, it's actually getting input and we're doing something with the input. Okay, very exciting stuff. But what if we want to like do something depending on what the input is? That is where we come to if-else statements. So an if-else statement basically just means that you can do something if something is true. And then you can also say else, meaning otherwise. Else is kind of a weird word for this, but that's what it is. Otherwise, we'll do this. If name is Jake, then print, wow, you are so cool. A little bit of an ego boost. Okay, so let's go over what this means. So we have an if statement. So this is saying if, and whatever's after the if and before this colon has to be true. And if it's true, we're going to run things that are in where's my camera? In the if statement. So in means anything that is indented. So, and you can see here, there's 4 spaces after the if, and now if I print something here, like always will run, just to show you. So, so this is not in it. If I tab this over, now it is in the if statement. Personally, I don't like that Python has all this tab stuff. In a lot of other languages, you can define what is in an if statement or anything like that by using these like curly braces, but can't do that in Python. At least not that I know of. If something is in an if statement, what is it called? Well, an if statement, this indent is actually called a block. So anything that is in the if statement, you could say it is in the block of the if statement. So if I tabbed this over, it is now in the block of the if. That's just like block basically means like a block of code, and a block typically means some bit of code that is going to run due to something or because it's in an area. But in this case, this is in a block and it's dependent on this if statement. This double equals is important here. You notice that it's not just a single equals. This means is this equal, double equals, meaning equal, like as if I'm typing the word equal to the word Jake. So let's run this, and what we should see is if we enter Jake, then we should see wow, you are so cool, and then we will also see this always will run. If we don't enter Jake, we will just see this always will run. We also have to enter this stuff here. Let's not do the age or print for now. Let's just ask the name. Okay, let's run. So name, Jake. Wow, you are so cool. Always will run. Okay, let's put in Buster. Always will run. Okay, so what if instead we say else? Always will run. How is this different from before? Well, it's not really different from before. It's actually the same in that this will always run, or this will run, except if we enter Jake as the name, it will not run this always will run. So this will say, I guess you aren't Jake. Okay, so this is if the name is Jake, we're gonna say, wow, you're so cool. Otherwise, or else, we're going to print, I guess you aren't Jake. So let's try this. Jake. Wow, you're so cool. Nothing else is printed. Buster. I guess you aren't Jake. There we go. Okay. So we now know how to see if the input is equal to this. I mean, in this case, we just have this is called hard coding, like a string. It's just no matter what, it's this. So usually you change things up a little bit like that. But okay, let's do something with like the age now too. Let's not care about the name for now, and let's just worry about the age. So let's say if the age is greater than 30, we're going to do something. And we'll say, wow, you're so cool. And then otherwise we'll say, you are young. I'm 30 years old, so this is where we're at. This is where I'm at in my life. Okay, so we're gonna read this again. So this is the greater than sign. A lot of these greater than signs, less than signs are like vital to know in programming. So this just means that if the age is greater than 30. If we did this, it would be less than 30. The little trick to know like less than or greater than is one of the mini tricks is that this, if you tilt your head a little bit, looks like an L. So this is less than, and this is just the other one. So it's greater than. Easiest way. Another thing we can do actually is what if we want to know if you're greater than or equal to 30? Then you can do greater, so the greater sign, and equal. So this is greater than or equal. And we can also do less than or equal to be less than or equal. So these are kind of the four main ways you can do things. So let's see what happens. So if we say if you're greater than or equal to 30, then wow, you're so cool, and then you are so young. So let's try this. Now, for people who have used Python before, do you think this is going to work? If you saw this error before I ran this, comment down below and show your expertise. So here, we're going to enter 30. Oh my goodness, what's going on? So it's saying if age is greater than or equal to 30, this is not supported between instances of string and int. What does that mean? Or str and int. So that's because this age right here is actually not, even though we're entering the number 30, the value it takes in, it stores it as a string. And as far as the computer is concerned, a string is just, it could be words, it could be anything, but it's not a number. So there's a couple of ways we can, first off, we can actually confirm that by printing out the type. You can do type, and then you can pass in the object. So in this case, or the variable. So we can pass in age, and let's print this out. Let's try this. So 30, and we can see class string. So it's str, which stands for string. Now, so we want this to now be, we don't want this to be a str or a string. We want this to be a number so that we can work with it. So one of the ways you can do this is by something called casting it. It's like you're freaking Harry Potter or something. Basically what this means is you can type int and then a bracket here and then another bracket. So this is kind of like, we're gonna get to functions eventually, but this is basically a function that takes whatever whatever is in the brackets and makes it be something else. So this converts whatever you give it into an integer if it can. It could also throw an error if it doesn't know what you're talking about. So we'll keep this print just so we can see what it's actually saying here. It'll print right after the enter your age, but I think it should work now. Because at this point, we're now saying, please input your age, and at this point it will be a string, and then after that, it will be converted to an integer. This is equivalent to doing, so age equals string, or age equals like 30 as a string, and then we can say age equals integer of age. So take the integer of the age. That's the exact same thing that we had up before. I was just putting this around that, but this is also correct. So let's run it now. So age 30. So we can see class int now. So now we converted it from a string to an integer. And then we said, wow, you're so cool. Excellent. All right, so now say we want to also check if the person is greater than 30, or greater than or equal to 30, and they are less than 50 years old. So we'll say now wow, you're so cool. And the otherwise, you are also pretty cool. Everybody's cool, right? So we gotta keep it real like that. Okay, so let's try this now. So we run. We can enter 30 again. See that this works. We still get wow, you're so cool. Let's get rid of this print type. Now let's try it again, but let's enter 50. You're also pretty cool. So now we're printing out this line. So we entered the age of 50. Does this seem correct? We're using less than here. So we're basically drawing like a little a box around between the ages of 30 and 49 technically, because we're saying if you're less than 50, you're going to be in this box. So this is saying like if you're 30 to 49, this is gonna happen, or this will be true. Otherwise, if you're anything else, you're gonna go into here. What if we want to do another age range? So we don't want to only care about people between 30 and 49. What if we also want to care about people who are greater than or 50 or greater? So in order to do this, we can do if and then do the exact same thing. So we can say age is greater than or equal to 50. Wow, you are awesome. Okay, so let's read over what we have here. So if the age is greater than or equal to 30 and the age is less than 50, so this is equivalent to saying if you're between 30 and 49, then we're going to print, wow, you are so cool. If this isn't true, so if this is not true, so this is false, we're going to move to the next part. So again, just like you're reading a book going top to down, this isn't true, so it doesn't care. It's going to go to the next part. Okay, is this part true? If your age is greater than or equal to 50, then wow, you're awesome. Okay, great. That works. And then if none of the ones above were true with this if statement, so if this is false and this is also false, then we'll print this. Now, let's try. So let's enter 50, which means this should be false and this should be true, meaning we should see, wow, you're awesome. Perfect. Okay, what if we change this to be 40? So what if when they enter in, if they're greater than or equal to 30 and they're less than 50, we want to say, wow, you're cool, so cool, and wow, you're awesome. Is this going to work? Well, let's enter 45. Huh. So we just say, wow, you're so cool. We don't do this one at all. The reason we don't do this is because this entire, all these lines here are kind of connected in a way. Because if this one is true, the rest of them, it doesn't even worry about. It just basically skips them. If this one is false, it goes to the next one it could be. And if this one is true, it skips the rest. And it's just true for the rest of them. Or it's the same way for the rest of them. So if we wanted to also do this, we would have to have a separate if statement, or we could put an if statement in an if statement. If statementception. So if we said if age is greater than or equal to 40, then print, wow, you are awesome. Okay, so do we see any issues with this? This should work. Let's say pretty awesome, just so that we have the distinction between these two. So let's try this again and do our 45 again. Okay, we did get 2. So they get this, wow, you are so cool. And then, so it did this, it checked 45 is greater than or equal to 30, and it's less than 50. And then it got into here and said, wow, you're so cool. And then it got to this line and said, is your age of 45, because we entered 45, is it greater than or equal to 40? And that is true. So then it went and said, wow, you're pretty awesome. Now, it didn't get to this point, right? Because we didn't, like, why didn't it get here? The reason it didn't get here is because this is a part of this if statement, right? They're kind of defined on the same line, right? Their blocks are on the same line as well. But this if statement, even though it is in, like, you know, sequentially it's the next line over, or the next one down from this one, it is in a different block. Its block is no longer like, this is, you could think of like all of this, I can't click there, all of these are together minus this, but this is now in here, and it doesn't care about this one because it's not in the same line. Now, if we had another if statement down below, like if age is less than 10, or let's say like less than 40, and we print like less than 40. I'm not being creative anymore in my printing. And we try this again, and we print, and we go like 35. We're gonna get multiple here, right? We're gonna get this, wow, you're so cool. And then we're also printing this. The reason we print this one as well is because this, even though it's another if statement, is now another start of an if statement, or an if-like block, you could think of it. So if statements will always start with an if, and then there's else ifs. This is like basically what elif stands for, is else if, and then an else. If you have another if, you're kind of starting a whole other block. So the reason we don't have an if here is because this is starting a new block of this if statement. So it's possible that this age is greater than or equal to 50, or age is greater than or equal to 30, and age is less than 50. If this is true, it'll run whatever's in this if block. But if this is true, it will also run this, because this is the start of a new if statement. So this is starting an entire new one. And now this else is about this if statement. It's no longer about this if statement. So this is kind of its own new thing. So it's possible that you could just have a bunch of ifs, and all of them are together, or all of them are, you have like, rather than this, you just also have like an if age is less than 20 or whatever. Then it could, if all of these were true somehow, then it would run all of them. It would run what's in their blocks. Every single one of them would run. But the reason you might want an else if or an else is because maybe you want to distinguish between, in this case, the ages. Maybe you want to have different ranges of ages that you're reading for. So, you could have an if age is greater than or equal to 30. You could, do like 10 increments. Are you less than or equal to 10? Are you less than or equal to 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, etc. So if you just did that with an if, then, so let's just do like really, really simply. Let's try this. So just because I want to make sure that it's really clear here. So if we said age is less than or equal to 10, and we print you are less than 11, just because that's true. Then we also said if age is less than or equal to 20, print you can maybe drive. If age is less than or equal to 30, you could buy a house if you could afford it, because they're expensive. I'm not gonna get crazy about that, but you could maybe buy a house. Buy a house. Okay, so let's try running this. So say we say I'm 9. Well, now we printed all of them. So this isn't right? Like if you're less than or equal to 10, then sure, you're 9, so that's correct. This is technically still true though, right? You are less than or equal to 20, but we don't really care about that. We care about, the actual, we want to kind of bucket you more, right? We want to bucket you based off of your age. What I say by bucket is like you have different buckets of, so like one is less than or equal to 10, one is less than or equal to 20, one is less than or equal to 30. So you know which bucket they are in, and you're able to make a decision off of that. However, if we change this to elif and elif, now what happens? We just print 11. Or we print that you're less than 11. Okay. What if we say that we are 18? Oh, you can maybe drive now. Okay. 28. You could buy a house. Maybe. So because we added the elif, the else in front, it's now considering all of these together, and all of them are relative to each other, or kind of like the truthness of the one previous to it depends on whether that one could run. So if this one was true, then these ones, it will not run. It doesn't, even if they're true, because there's the elif. If you remove the elif, if any of them are true, they could run. So this could run if it's true, this could run if it's true, this could run if it's true. I just want to try and make sure that that's really clear, because I know it can be a little bit confusing once you kind of get into this stuff, but if statements are like the basis part of coding, because it determines, you know, whether you go one way or another way, basically. And you know, you can build full like games using like if statements. I think later on we will try to build something like maybe like Hangman or something, and yeah, we'll get there eventually though. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope this wasn't too much. Please, if you have any questions, definitely drop a comment down below, and I will be happy to respond and hopefully make something make more sense. If you like this video, if you like the series or any of it, or you just are feeling happy, drop a like down below. It's free and it helps the channel out a lot. If you want to be notified for future videos in this series, please consider subscribing. It's also free, and you can click the little bell if you want to be extra notified. It'll actually send you a notification if you click the bell. Yeah, this has been great. I think it's been great. I hope it's been great for you. And I will see you in the next one. Remember, never stop learning.